Welcome, everybody, to the Splinterlands Town Hall Special. This is the Influencer Edition, the first one ever. And we got a great show planned for you tonight. We have Bulldog, we have Aftersound, we have Infidel, we have B Jangles. I know everybody knows who they are, so I don't even have to say what they do or where they're from because they're all household names in our community. And on top of that, we have Blaze here, who's head of our sales and marketing department, who's going to be those five are going to be the host of this. We're going to have two guests, one of which is going to be Joey. The other is going to be Gathering the Magic. And it's going to be a solid hour and a half to 2 hours of nonstop talking about the great set that we have coming out, Conclave Arcana. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jangles. Let's take the show away.
Turn it over to Jangles. Blaze, are you going to kick us off?
Oh, man. Yeah, let's go. Conclave Arcana is here. Couple days away. I hope you guys are all prepared. You guys stack up your DEC already, or are you waiting to burn SPS? What's the game plan?
A little of both. Got to get them both lined up.
Right?
I change my mind every 10 minutes.
What's that?
I change my mind every 10 minutes. It's like, okay, I'm going to load up on SPS, and then the other day I saw a dip below like 90% of peg, and I was like, okay, I got to switch them over, and then it goes back up, and ask me in 2 hours, I'll have a different answer.
See, I'm just not swapping between them anymore. If I get DEC, I stack DEC. If I get SPS, I stack it, and I'll wait for the right moment to burn it.
I don't know how you guys are holding on to DEC though. Like whenever I get it, it just finds a way out of my hands.
Well, yeah, I think people are preparing for this. There's drop a bunch of DEC on these packs, so they're trying to sell some of their other cards. And I keep seeing all these ridiculous deals pop up in the market. It's like, I can't pass that up. I got to get it. So my DEC stack keeps going down that way.
Yeah, no, I can't hold DEC whatsoever. Packs and DEC are the worst. Like I see people sitting, they're streaming, and they have like 200 packs just idle. I can't do that. I gotta click open them all. So no, in regards to DEC, I started stacking, and then I saw the opportunity to get a Nidhogger gold foil, and I couldn't resist. So the stacks keep burning. But now this is a very interesting time. We're ramping up. Tuesday's the big launch. And I don't know what you guys are most excited about, but these new summoners are action-packed. B Jangles and I have been testing them out, making sure they're polished and very fun to play with. So another thing is the whole going back in time. And I don't know if you guys have been scooping up the elves and the orcs and such already, but collecting those that's a whole game within itself. I haven't had much time, but I want to go down the rabbit hole and start completing all the orcs and all the elves. So really excited about that gameplay. But what else are you guys cooking?
All of the above, man. For me, I'm like right now I'm trying to really fixate on land, and some of the people will know that I just did a thing with Azurcon, and I think maybe Aftersound did something too. But just trying to get more land and exposure to that, because 1.75 is exciting. And I've said before on my channel, and I'd love to hear any feedback from this amazing audience or group of people. But it strikes me as even though 1.75 has got new bells and whistles and it's reason to be excited, I feel like Conclave has captured more of the attention of Splinterlands and the people of Pretoria, and so I just feel like that leaves some opportunity within the context of land. I think I'm in the minority here, other than maybe Aftersound that's maybe thinking that, or what do you think land is, you can't focus on that right now because CA is too important, or is it a little of both, or what?
For basically,
I feel like they're integral, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's finally connected, right? I mean, with the midnight potions, that's going to be a huge element where land will finally play a part with black foils.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really a land guy, just as far as like the gameplay of land. I prefer the active card game, so I've never really done a lot with land. But the midnight potions kind of has me pricing out land. I was just looking at it earlier today to see if I wanted to go try and get those midnight potions, because I feel like the market doesn't really understand the impact that those are going to have, and those black foils, just how huge those pulls are. I mean, those are not only a bonus, but you pull them as a max card. So those are like they're just insane. You're going to want those potions.
Well, we've also already heard a couple folks throw down the gauntlet and say, I'm going for a max black foil deck. Matt really dropped the alpha in terms of his own aspirations yesterday. We hosted him at Jimmy and I. It boggles my mind to start to think about what kind of hoops you got to jump through to achieve a max black foil deck. But if anyone could do it, Yaba's going to lead the way. So yeah, certainly exciting. Azurcon, we hosted him last week, and he's subsequently done the rounds with Aftersound and Infidel, and kind of pulling on that same thread of land. It's been exciting to watch. And as somebody who I've got 7 plots, I was pretty active from the get-go, and when we hit all-time bottoms on SPS, it felt like the right time to push pause there. But the last couple of weeks, man, I've been getting excited about land again too. So you're certainly not feeling alone, Infidel. And I think that's starting to kind of resonate with the folks. And to Bulldog's point, it feels like the black foil potions are kind of being overlooked at this point. But I expect in the next few days, we're going to start to see that the winds of change are going to be rolling in there.
So I'm actually the opposite. I just pulled all my stuff off land. I had 2 keeps and a tract. So I pulled everything off land and I rented it out. And I'm at 2.3K DEC per day with if I get everything rented out, it's 5,000 DEC a day. So that's a Chaos Legion pack a day. That I'm getting in rental DEC. So I'm kind of putting all my eggs in that basket. I bought 30 Litecoin the other day, and I'm slowly transferring it over into SPS. Hopefully get ready for the pre-sale without all the arbitrage loss in the meantime.
Yeah. That's the problem, is if I need to know how the best way to do that is, but I'm like doing the same thing, Joey, like bit by bit, day by day, because got to grow that number. Blaze told me about a year ago, I said, are you ever going to sell some of that SPS? And Blaze said, SPS number go up. And he was right about that one.
Yeah. I haven't taken anything out of SPS. So I'm always having to bring stuff into the ecosystem to load my bags with more cards and stuff.
I don't know which one of you guys is the most bullish. Bulldog came out and predicted 40 cents a couple days ago, and after sound, I still remember your video where you're like, it's just going to go up and never come down. So
I mean, theoretically, I've said theoretically, but yes.
I was gonna say I don't want to say I predicted 40 cents. That was like we plugged a bunch of different numbers into AI models. And like when we went most optimistic, it was like, oh, this is the most optimistic projection. Not necessarily a prediction, but still, it's gonna be fun.
Just blame ChatGPT and Grok. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
There we go.
So Blaze, how excited are you hearing the word out there about Conclave Arcana? It's people.
Yeah, it's booming. It's interesting to see, like, even like the people trying to get in and getting SPS. And I think before BNB was like, it to get your SPS, and they were doing the swapping and transferring in. And now you see these centralized exchanges climb the ranks. So you have crypto.com, you have what's the other the other 2 that are hot right now that have SPS, and it's crazy to see the centralized exchanges getting all that action. And you see those huge spikes in the SPS too. So yeah, people are panicking to get in, and they're finding any way they can get their tokens. But also we have the on-ramp work in the works too. So that should help the new players. Hopefully that's live by the time Conclave Arcana drops. But no, everything's going well. Everybody's excited. The new synergies are just going to be amazing, and the new abilities. So it's great to see the testers and Jangles and everybody giving feedback. And now we're just dialing it in, making everything look pretty. Speaking of pretty, Joey has all kinds of fun stuff to show us. So if you guys are prepared, he'll start talking stuff. Go ahead.
I want to, because I've never seen the testing, and I think many of you have, but also maybe there are people in the audience
I think
Patch the test.
Bejangles here is the only one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
The rest of us
I'm
are
excited,
jealous.
man. But yeah, no, if Joey's got treatsies, I think we're all excited to see that stuff.
Mhm. Before we jump into that though, I do want to say, because I've said this a couple times already, but it'd be fun to say it on Town Hall. I really love the evolution of the packonomics, if that's a thing, or pack tokenomics. I don't know. So I joined during the Chaos Legion era, and I think we all know what happened with Chaos Legion. There's still a lot of packs out there, but then we got to see the entirety of Rebellion and see just how scarce of a set it is. And I love the fact that the focus for Conclave Arcana is on the chase element, because I've never been much of a collector, but now I see these fancy arcane cards and I'm like, you know what? The closer we get to the end of the sale, or even after the sale is out, I'm just trying to imagine what this would look like if Chaos Legion had them, or if Rebellion had them. There wouldn't be any packs left on the marketplace because people would either be hoarding them or opening them, chasing these cards. And so it gets me excited to see what the end of Conclave Arcana will look like. I mean, we're all excited about the beginning, but I'm already thinking towards the end, because the arcane cards, both black and gold, are going to be the ones that everybody's trying to go after, myself included. And so now, like, every pack has that potential to hold a card worth, I don't know. I was talking with Walking Keys. Shout out to Walking Keys about this, but I mean, any of those cards I think is going to be at least $100 or a couple $100, right? Just based on how they already come maxed, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
So I
they're all
mean,
maxed.
like, and they're going to be incredibly rare, or scarce, I should say. So I don't know. I find that exciting, just kind of seeing the evolution of what we're doing with the pack. So shout out to the team for really getting that in on this one.
So,
Yeah,
do
well-
we think that? Do we think people are going to, because once those packs are getting burned, if we get to that point, then your odds go up of pulling those cards. Are we gonna have a bunch of people that just buy a bunch of packs and sit on them, waiting until after the burn when they might be
Yeah.
more valuable?
That's going to be an interesting game, right? Because what happens when people start pulling the one of ones and they're sitting on the packs, and then they're worried about not having many one of ones available because they're getting pulled. So then they're going to want to open the packs. So that was our intention, right? So when we built this set early on, that we needed to do something different than we've done in the past. And before I came on board, I always wanted to do holos, even drop in holo cards into Chaos Legion packs to help boost the openings and the combining and such. So there wasn't so many packs on the market. But designing this was just everybody coming together and making it work. At first, once we got the black foils approved, it was like, okay, great, at least we got the new foils. But then we really wanted to get the collector side of things with the mint numbers. And I was taking it easy on the mint numbers. I think I had the legendaries at 5, and then Matt did the math, and he's like, no, let's make them one of one, because that'll just, the math works out. So he made those one of ones. It was just making them super rare. And in addition to, it's like the epics are going to be hard to max if you do the math. And pulling a black foil epic is just going to be like a huge relief, like especially if you get one you really, really want. And the exciting game there is, like, if somebody buys a couple $100 worth of packs and they're trying to build their set and they pull one of those, it's going to be fun to see how they work, because I think that a lot of people are going to want to sell that black foil to go buy more packs, right? And to build their set. And that opens up the doors for all kinds, for the collector, and then also for land, right? They have huge utility on land, and the cooldowns are much better. So we designed it where it's not just for the collector, it's for everybody, right? To speed up their decks, to get a better deck faster if they can pull that, to increase the utility on land and the cooldowns in game, to make them super special, not just visually, but for utility as well. So
Matt was with Jangles and Jimmy yesterday or whatever, and I watched that this morning. Jangles, that was a great one. And Matt talked about the numbers on this, that I don't know if everybody watched this interview, and you should. You got to go watch the People's Guild with Matt. But he said, like, he has his numbers and his formulas, and he's like, if we sell about as many as we sold of Rebellion, which he thinks we're going to do better, but let's just putting some numbers together. like there might be as few as 7 of those legendary black foils. And so like 7. And then, you know, if, of course we move more units, and if they use the nightmare or the midnight potions, and the numbers change and they get bigger. But I think, and Jangles, you can, maybe you'll know the number better than I will, but it was like what? It went up to 40 or something if everything sold or something crazy like that.
Yeah, on the high end, it was definitely still very scarce, and
Very.
on the low end, if we remained, you know, somewhat similar to Rebellion numbers, what you just mentioned, it's under 10, which is just, you know, so if you think 1 of 1 black foil arcanes and then 7 max, you know, black foils across the board, and we didn't get into the gold foil arcanes, but yeah, the degree of scarcity that's coming with this stuff is awesome. And to your point, After Sound, and firstly, I want to question your comment that you're not a collector. I think your first viral Splinterlands video was in reference to a certain gold foil. You're crazy if you think you're gonna drop that comment and not get called out for it.
It's my biggest public L in Splinterlands, but yeah,
Big
I
L.
own it. I still have the card. I'm never
Still own it.
combining it.
Nice.
I'm just gonna wait until it hits its value and triples its value.
Excellent. All right, so all our guests are here. You guys start with Joey. Joey's got, I'm sure, number 1, Joey's. Oh, okay.
What am I doing? Who's
Gathering
Sound
magic.
Okay.
Oh, you have a private message. Sorry, Roger, I'm on it.
So we got Gathering the Magic coming on, our second guest of this inaugural influencer town hall. Somebody that I think everybody should be aware of. If you aren't, Gathering drops weekly market watch videos, takes a really deep dive into every single set. If the collector aspect in Conclave wasn't, you know, if the value of embracing the collector aspect of Conclave was ever in question, I think we're about to hear exactly who the collector aspect is speaking to with this guy here. So welcome Gathering. I think you're on.
Yep. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Yes, I have been wanting numbered cards, different foil versions for so long. So I'm so happy with Conclave Arcana. And yeah, really looking excited to opening the packs in a couple of weeks. My big thing is which packs to buy. You know, going for the $4 packs or going for the alchemy packs. Legendary, I'm not too sure about, but I think my sweet spot's going to be the alchemy packs. I think the guaranteed gold foil, along with the best odds of getting those black foils, is what I'm going to really concentrate on.
Yeah, that's an exciting approach. I think that's all. I don't know how to gather my mind around the distinction between the regular packs versus the legendary, the alchemy, or the other one. And of course, the monetary is a huge leap forward in your value paid, but I think you're right that the value received is meaningful and justifiable. And I think even smaller players, like you would say you are Gathering, hey, like they're still going to be biting at those things, I think, hey?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't play at max level. Usually I play silver, maybe gold, but definitely I want those cards at max level simply for land, you know, because that's going to give me, what is it, 5 times a normal, or what is it, beta, basically, production. So if I pull like a legendary, that's going to be a max level legendary beta card, basically, with all the bells and whistles. So yeah, really excited to hopefully pull one of those.
And the value, like it's, I think it's going to, there's something very interesting about that, because the black foils are, you just talked like that, but also I think early, middle, and late people are going to be, that's going to be a driving force at all points of the sale. Do you agree with that, Gathering? What do you think about that?
Yeah, like you guys were talking about a few minutes ago, you know, the question's going to be, okay, let's say I bought 20 legendary packs. Do I want to crack them right away to see if I can pull one of those one-of-ones, or, you know, the arcane cards? Or do I wait a month, wait 2 months for packs to be burnt, for my odds to go up, and now I've got a better chance of pulling one of those cards? So I think you're going to have players that are, you know, in all different spectrums. They're going to say, hey, I want to crack these things right away. I want to build my deck. You know, if I get one, I get one. If not, you know, no big deal. Then you're going to get other people that are going to be like, well, I want the best chance of getting one. And if I'm going to spend X amount of money, I want the best odds. I'm willing to be patient and maybe open it 2 or 3 months down the road. So I think you're going to appeal to a lot of different collectors. And I've been a card collector since the 90s, back in the sports card days. So I was there when, football cards for the very first time had a jersey card. I think it was Upper Deck. They had the very first Joe Montana jersey card. Upper Deck sold so many packs because everybody wanted to pull that Joe Montana card. So, that's been the one thing I've really waited for Splinterlands is like, I talked about it, I think a year ago in malls, mentioned, and I'm like, hey, have you guys thought about doing like cards numbered out of 100 or numbered out of 1? That's going to sell packs in and of itself. You get somebody that pulls, let's say for Rebellion, if they did it, you pull a 1 of 1 black foil tofu, that thing's going to be all over Facebook. It's going to be all over Twitter, all over Instagram. That's going to do a lot of marketing, basically for free. It's going to go viral. So I really see that happening with this set. So super excited.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the element of surprise, right? Like Rebellion, you're going after the gold foil tofu and Lorcas and such, right? And with this set, it's like so much more action packed if you pull something super rare. So it's like, what's going to happen if the Rebellion packs are holding their value now? How is Conclave Arcana going to act on the secondary market once the sale's up?
Multiply the packs by 10. Your standard, your $4 packs will be 30 to 40. Your legendary packs will be at least $100, if not more. Your alchemy packs will be 50 or more. If you get 10, 20, 30,000 people, it'll probably be twice that. So don't think that packs can only be a certain price. I mean, I was there Magic the Gathering days with beta, when beta packs were $2-3, and then they hit 100 and everybody's like, oh, they're never going to go above 100. They've done 30x. Now they're multiple thousands, for a single pack of cards. So I'm not saying Splinterlands can get to that point, but it would not surprise me. I've seen it before.
I think there's I want to hear some people's thought on this, but I think gathering, I think you're right, but I also think there's going to be a window of time, especially during the is it the pre-sale, where we're going to see the sales are contributing to different successes. Like you're potentially getting your own card design, I think. And then there's those raffle tickets and there's also the promo cards. And so I'm pretty convinced, and I think I might be in the minority at this table, that say, I think regular packs, the $4 packs, are going to be sold at a discount on the peer-to-peer market because buyers will buy thousands and liquidate what they can. And that's not something I'm predicting 3 months into RCA, but it's something I'm predicting 2 weeks in and 1 week in the context of the pre-sale. So I think there might be this unique opportunity for people who are paying attention to get probably $3 regular packs off the peer-to-peer. What do you think, Gathering? Is that going to be a reality, you think?
Yeah, I think packs will be at a slight discount. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to buy as many packs as they can, just to get like the points, and then they're going to, some a little bit cheaper, get some more DEC, buy some more packs. They're going to do that. But the people that hang on to them long term, which is going to be difficult to do, me included. It's like, hey, I want to hang on to packs, but at the same point, I want to build my deck, and then I want a chance at those black foils. It's going to be a tough decision. It's really going to see how many people are determined to be patient. It's hard. It really is. You've got that gambler's itch to just open packs as soon as you get them.
And then also to compete, right? Like we're going to need to max the cards out to compete at the higher levels. So,
The one question I did have with the black foils is they gave the odds, like for the different type of packs, like 1 in 800 for the $4 packs and 1 in 80 for the alchemy. Now, when you get a black foil, are there the same number of each rarity? Like, let's say there's 250 possible black foil commons. Does that mean there's like 250 rares, 250 epics, or does it scale based on the rarity of the card?
The rarity of the card. The way that works, every rarity will have the drop chances that it normally would have, except for the black foils are going to be that much harder. So just like there's less gold foil legends than there is gold foil commons, it'll be the same thing for the black foil. There will be less black foil legends than there will be black foil commons. everyone will be sequentially numbered. So, for instance, you don't go to the number 2s until all that rarity gets pulled. So, the first legendary, for instance, will be number 1. Then the next legendary will be also a number 1. The next one will also be a number 1 until you get to the number 2s. Once you've gone through all the number 1s, then you go number 2. So when you guys were talking about the back end, like the sales at the back end are going to go off the chart, which I agree. We're also going to have just crazy rush on the first day to get those number 1s, on the first day, because every single black foil, at least for the first, 20, 20 of each type, is going to be number 1 right off the bat. So that's going to be pretty fun too.
So that'll be interesting. So you can have people timing the opening of their packs based on like which black foil. So you'll know like which black foil legendary you could possibly pull. Like if somebody just pulled this number 2, okay, you can't possibly pull that one again until the others go through. So whether that's better or worse for people pulling things open. I didn't realize that they had to be pulled in sequential order.
Yeah, it's still random. But once one's been pulled in, it kind of like goes on pause until the other. So if there's 25, the first one goes off out of the queue, and then the other 24 can be pulled random. So for instance, going back, like if this was done for Rebellion, Tofu, for instance, could be the first one pulled, and then you can't get the number 1 on Tofu anymore. But let's say you're 20 cards in and Tofu hadn't been pulled, then you're right. Everybody's going to be like, holy cow, I want that black foil legend, right? Because it's going to be a Tofu. So it's going to be interesting, I think.
So how does that work with airdrop? So like, let's say when the airdrop comes, if we're on number 4, like is the next 4 that's pulled going to be the airdrop card that doesn't have one yet? Or
yeah, that was my question too, because otherwise you're going to have a rush of openings after each airdrop for people wanting to get that number 1.
Yeah, the airdrops will work the same way. Essentially, the arcanes are put into a bucket, and Harry's on the call. So, welcome, Harry, by the way. Harry's the one that's making a bucket where all the hits go in, all the arcanes, any special cards that we happen to put. And those are going to be pre-made, pre-minted, and that's what's going to be put over the total pack supply. And then each day as it gets burned, you're going to have less and less on the bottom, on the denominator. And then as each card's pulled, it obviously comes out. The other cards, the regular black foils, are going to be minted. And that's why they come in order, like number 1, for all of them, and then number 2 for all of them. And it's going to work the same way with the conflicts. So once the conflicts come, the very first guy to mint the very first black foil will have the number 1. So yeah, when those conflicts come, I think there's going to be an added excitement, especially as you get, like, again, that Tofu type legendary summoner that everybody's like, holy cow, I want to have it. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be rushing as fast as they can, to hit that mint button, hoping to get that number 1.
To that point, Dave, what makes the black foil and the arcane so fascinating to me is like the illiquid nature of them and the conflict, internal conflict, not the airdrops, but like if I were to pull, for example, if I were to pull like a gold foil Tofu today, which would probably be one of the biggest pulls, I would have no problem selling that because then I could go buy a bunch of other cards. But if I was to pull a 1-of-1 black foil arcane, right, of the same thing, I'd have a lot of trouble letting that go because that's my card now, right? And so these things I think are going to be very highly desired, and I don't know that we're going to see them hitting the market the same way that the top tier cards now and traditionally have been.
Yeah, I think that's gathering the Magic's point. Like these things that you don't. I mean, this is like the first time we've done anything of this kind of magnitude, and if I believe at some point when we're much, much bigger than where we are now, people are going to look back at these cards and say, I had a chance, right? And that's kind of what Blaze wanted when he was putting together the set and how to, work. He wanted people that you could pull, I don't want to talk about what the numbers could be. You guys are welcome to say what the prices of these particular cards could be, but everybody can get one in a $4 pack, right? Like you could literally buy a $4 pack and pull a arcane black foil 1-of-1 tofu, and that's pretty exciting in my opinion.
So
Absolutely.
I had a question real quick about the status of possibly getting in-game notifications when an arcane card is pulled. Is that feasible?
Yes, we have a widget going. Harry, is that done?
Yep, jump it on even though people can't see me. Yeah, I actually made a mock-up of that today. So kind of like system announcements right now, but waiting for the creative team to give us some artwork to throw on it.
It's happening.
We need explosions.
Gathering the Magic has pulled the 1-of-1 legendary card.
Yeah.
Yep, can't wait
How
to
cool
see
would that be?
Yeah.
That would be so cool. And your friends like messaging you and be like, what? And then you're going to see it you're going to blow up social media because it'll be like, I will speculate about price, Dave. I think some of those gold foil, the black foils or the arcane, some of those legendaries in particular, I think you're like, you gotta be in the neighborhood of the Heloise the Hollow or maybe more. And, this is crazy. And like I say, maybe more because what I've heard about Conclave in the context of like, even those, the Bloodline Dominion and like thinking through how that uniquely would empower you in some of those capacities. And Blaze, you said some of these legendaries make these commons like next level. And I'm just trusting you guys on some of this stuff, but I believe if that's so, that translates to like unique utility that is going to be greatly desired, plus the scarcity. Yeah, man, hype.
Daniels,
You call something. Say what, Dave?
I said you've played them. What's your thinking?
Yeah, I was just going to chime in. The level of synergy that is coming from Conclave Arcana is something the likes that we have yet to see in Splinterlands. Of course, you bring in tofu, and that does add value to particular cards in Wild, but not to the degree that we're seeing with the racial dominion stuff. So it just unlocks such a cool new influence across a whole slew of cards in a way that we've never seen before. So there's, of course, there's the scarcity value, like you call out, and I'd be curious to hear if any of the other guys on the call have started to do the mental gymnastics in terms of what do you think these cards are going to go for? So if we have a legendary summoner 1-of-1, I mean, would you sell at 5K? Would you sell at 10K? Would you sell at 25K? Like where is that easy sell button? And where is it like, I kind of want to slow my roll on push and sell here and see what kind of shakes out. Because as we were working through the testing process, it became abundantly clear very quickly that the element of time, the more time you have, the more you have the opportunity to realize just how powerful and meaningful these cards really are. And we haven't had we've been largely focusing on modern testing and the confines within the interactions between Rebellion and Conclave. On accident, we have a couple of times hit wild challenges and that sort of stuff, and all of a sudden it's, oh man, like you're in a whole new world. So yeah, I'm super excited to see where this stuff comes out. I have a hard time landing on a number in terms of, if I pull a legendary 1-of-1, that's an easy number in my mind, at which point I would definitely sell. Just all the new stuff, Splinterlands, and circling back to your opening commentary after sound, I think credit to the team for every aspect of this new set has leveled up what we're doing. There's legitimately something for everybody here, and whether it's the packonomics or you're playing the holding game or you're looking to there's going to be guys that just want to play the card game, so maybe they don't care about the collectability, but the chase is legitimately real. And for the first time, we've heard it for a long time. All of us on here have been here for a few years, and we've heard it. There's something for everybody. And Dwayne, you've called it the game within the game. Well, all of a sudden there's the games within the game. There's layers there the likes of which we haven't seen before. So I'm really excited to see this thing unfold. We're 4 days and counting until this stuff hits airwaves, and I'm excited to see the reactions, man. It's going to be a fun time to be here.
So
So-
Jangle, another thing is the layer on the gameplay itself, right? Like, I think there's going to be strategies that people like tend to play. Like right now, it's, you pick your main cards and you just run with it. But I think you can fall in love with certain strategies, and you're collecting cards that other people aren't collecting. So it'll have a good balance there of, it's just your style of play. There's just so many more dynamics to the set that'll people will set their styles, whether they're aggressive or defensive or in between. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
100%. And I'll add one more bit of commentary just based off of my testing experience. I liken it somewhat to like you're walking across a spider web when you're laying out your deck of cards, your hand. You're going to receive and see ripple effects from XYZ card combination with the other cards that you maybe didn't realize there was synergy there, and all of a sudden it's layered, and the depth that's coming, and it's a lot of fun, man. I have had an absolute blast being a part of the testing crew, and we've called it out quite a few times, and this feels like a good moment to thank the team again for the community was asking for testing for a long time, and Matt came out on our episode yesterday and said, it's at the end of the day, it's the community's set, and we felt like we owed it to the community to get them intimately involved. And man, the team has delivered in spades on getting the community intimately involved in the testing, and it's been an awesome experience. So shout out to all the guys out there that have taken time out of their day to volunteer and help make this set absolutely awesome. Because I think we've the team got it 90% of the way there, 95% of the way there. We were just kind of fine tuning and polishing and offering some insights that perhaps were overlooked. But yeah, it feels like it's A plus territory. So thanks to the team.
I do want to kind of back up a little bit, and you go to one group that you mentioned that I think kind of gets overlooked in this set. You talk about the people who just want to get the cards to play the game, and maybe they're not the collectors, or they're not chasing these other cards. As long as there are packs available in the market, that kind of puts a cap on like how much the average pack is worth, or whatever the case. Because if that gets too high, then you get people that just buy the packs and flip them or whatever. So having these more valuable or cards, these black foils and all those that can be super valuable will actually drive down the price of just your normal cards. They're, at least at first, are not going to be as expensive, which is going to make it cheaper for those players who just want to go buy the cards on the market to play with them, and they're not chasing those black foils or all of those. And I think that can be a good thing as well.
Yeah, Royal
100%
Eagle
agree.
really took advantage of that. I think they were selling the summoners from Rebellion for like 9 cents or 7 cents at one point, and he was scooping them up, and now you can't get anywhere close to that. So yeah, if that happens, that's a good thing for us that want to complete our sets. So, and also we have survival mode too, right? So duplicates aren't a problem anymore.
Exactly. That's why I'm so excited about the new. We've talked about the alchemy. We've talked about the legendary packs. We talked about the black foils and how cool that it's going to be. And those are all amazing things. But I'm maybe equally excited for the, what are they called? Starter packs with the discounted access point. Because I think we want to see this reach a wider audience with more people like around the world. Dollar packs is a way to get people's attention. Plus, commons and rares are 53 of the 84 initial launch of Conclave Arcana. So there's 2/3 of the cards that are going to be in this pool of this new set are available at that discounted rate. Yes, you're not getting gold foils. Yes, you won't be able to get the black foils or whatever, but I think access matters. And maybe a little bit on Bulldog's point, like cheap is okay. Like that's not a bad thing for everybody. It's a great thing for a lot of people, and it just doesn't apply to those with deeper pockets. That's okay.
To Dwayne, and I'm glad you brought up the starter packs, but to your and Bulldog's point, I think that this really strikes a great balance, because one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is the fact that we had Chaos Legion that came out, and the prices obviously went a lot lower than anybody was expecting, and everybody complained about cheap cards. Then Rebellion comes out, very scarce, and everybody's complaining about expensive cards, and it's like you can't, you don't know what to do. This is the first time I think we can have a cheap entry point where people can come in, and the commons and rares, which will include summoners that people can play with, can be cheap, while the top tier premium cards, the collector cards, will be expensive. Keep the value of the overall setup, make the the set high, and make opening packs that real kind of like gamble's not the word, but just like that energy of like wanting to like, oh, let me roll the dice and see what I can get, and actually have it be something fun.
The one thing I wanted to bring up, to go back to an earlier point, was Bejangles was saying, if I got one of these cards, arcane cards, 1 of 1 or 1 of 20, what would I price it at? I have no idea what I price it at. 3 grand, 5 grand. What you could do is you could put it on the Splinterlands auction site right next to the market on the tab, right next to it. Put it up for like 7 days, 3 days. Oh, wait, we don't have that yet? Oh, well, we should. Do you agree?
No.
Have an auction
Yeah,
site?
that was on the podcast, right? With Bejangles, they brought it up. No, it's a great point. Why not? I think Harry's like, give me a little more time before we implement that.
Sorry about
But
that.
yeah, no, it's a great idea.
he needs a couple hours of sleep.
All right,
Yeah, I mean-
let's. One thing I'd like to do before we go too far into the show is Joey is our first guest, our special guest, and he's not only knows the lore that I think is important to talk about, but he's also has some cards that I think he wants to show off, as well as possibly some art. So, Joey, why don't welcome and host, ask away, whatever you want to. Joey's here, and he's the first guest ever, and he looks awesome as well. He's got a bow tie on, in case anybody can't see.
Great, and Joey, it looks like you're showing off some stuff here to us, but are we going to show that off to the viewers? What do you got?
Uh-oh. All right.
We're seeing
Well, I
two
will say
amazing
this,
things.
while we're seeing some alpha here, this is on the test server. We've been playing with not blank cards, but all sketch art. So this is going to be brand new for, I don't know, Blaze. Have you had a chance to scroll through and see all the artwork, or is this?
Yeah, I've been working with Alfredo on that, but Harry's just pushing that through to the test servers, and that's all rendering now. So everything's coming to life.
And I will say, on the art that we're going to show, the cards will not have the stats yet, because we've been in the testing and we didn't want to put the stats on without the testing being wrapped up. So that's in process. So what we will be showing you is the cards done, but without the stats added. So you'll see the art, you'll see what it looks like, but you won't see the actual, how many health, how much magic, how much, rain, whatever the stats are, you just won't see them.
Yeah, and if Joey doesn't show any of that out or off, that I'm going to be handing out cards to everybody who signed up to show off the cards. So I just received that package today, and tomorrow I will put that on my priority list and start DMing you guys with some cool stuff to show off.
So everybody watching needs to be following us on Hive and on X and on everywhere, because they're going to see some cool things in the coming days.
Great. Yeah, and I'll be blasting from the main account of who has what, and we'll get organized.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Did we ever get Joey up? Okay. All right. So, you guys asked a question. I forget what it was, but I saw Bulldog with the big thumbs up. So somebody asked, I think it was Jangles, like, I don't know how much they'll go for. And I think he threw out like 5,000 or 7,000 or something like that. And that's where Bulldog gave the thumbs up. What do you guys think these, 1-on-1 Black Foil Arcanes could go for? Like, do you guys have a thought on that?
Oh, I think it's easily 5 figures.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Yeah.
guess, but I would be shocked if they go for less than 10,000.
Yep, I totally agree. Yep, 5 figures.
And picture the person who picks that, who opens
Did you guys
that
hear
and
me?
gets that lottery ticket, and that's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
I'm
Joey,
very glad the
All right,
pack
so I can do
opening
my
replays were added.
I can do my camera like this. Apparently, I can only use my camera for one thing at a time. It's not letting me connect. Would you like to see my chin?
yes.
It is a better
All right.
vantage point for that bow tie.
There you go.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
So welcome, Joey. We're
All right,
happy
let
you
me
can
get the
talk.
open up again. This is me too. All right, give me 1 second. Shoot, pull this window over. I got like 10,000 windows open. All right, so before I start, I'll drop the stats in the chat once I start talking about the card. But just as a general overview, talking about how we did this set. So we have the Conclave Arcana, and the whole idea behind this is that the rebellion has ended, and we can take a breath, we can sit back and relax. No, sorry, Portia, Nur, and the Conclave Arcana have taken this opportunity where all the splinters and the kingdoms, empires, and everything, they're all kind of in disarray, trying to rebuild after the rebellion. And Portia Nur is like, this is my chance to take the secret of Praetoria for myself. So she has each one of these Conclave Arcana mages, and there's going to be one per element, and they basically go out to the territories of Praetoria, and they're all looking for the pieces of the secret of Praetoria. The summoners, they're the ones who are trying to stop her. So you have Orc Summoner, and he's got his dudes from the Duratuk nation, and they go out to stop. Let's see, they are in the pristine northeast. So it's Jikarilla the Rhyme, and she uses her water magic up there, and she's doing all this stuff. This card right here, let me drop the stats in chat before I start rambling on too much about her. Just copy this. Maybe. Where is it? Shoot. Let me do that a different way. Anyway, so this is called the Auroral Elemental. And this is with Polyphila Weslanalis. And she is, I chose that name for Vugtis, because I know he likes really difficult names to say. So this is the Auroral Elemental. And Polyphila summons her in the pristine northwest. Polyphila is a gnome time mage, and basically she rewinds and fast forwards time to create gorges and make forests erupt and mountains crumble and rise from the ground. And she's just trying to churn up the earth to uncover the secret of Praetoria. She summons these elementals from the elemental plane of life, and they kind of help her do her business. She's got like an expedition, so you'll see all these cards in Conclave Arcana that are kind of part of her team, and then she's fighting against the good guys, if you will, in that. Anyway, it's a pretty cool card. It's got reach, it's got protect, which is pretty important, and it's got what's that ability there? Enfeeble, -1 to melee power every time it attacks. So pretty cool card, pretty powerful card. And it synergizes really well with some of the other cards you're going to see in Conclave Arcana. Do you guys want to chat a little bit about her or it or what have you?
Is she throwing up? Looks like she's throwing up some Praetorian gang signs there.
Yeah, there are some gangsters in this set.
Yeah, so that's like this.
Is that like
you can see me?
West Side for Pacific?
Yeah.
Or,
You said she's a mage, or she's like one of. You said every splinter,
Yeah.
every element is going to have a mage.
So she's in the pristine northwest. Yeah, so this is an elemental. The one who summons her is Polyphila Weslanalis.
Joey, I haven't had a chance to look at all the artwork. The lore isn't up on the test server, so I haven't had a chance to look at that either. But conceptually, it feels like the racial bloodlines and some of the names of the cards lend itself to the lore and the creative side of the business much more substantially than we've seen in sets past. And it, you know, based off of the origin story that you just provided for this elemental, it sounds like that is the case. Do you feel like you guys have had the opportunity to really, you know, kind of flex the lower side of the stuff that you've been, I know that, you know, you've been sharing how much passion you feel towards the lore for years with us on the People's Guild, but is my assumption accurate there that you're really getting to flex all that you've been putting into the lore with these cards?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really cool to have the Bloodline Summoners, and when Conclave Arcana releases, you're going to see, you can see on this card, it says Elemental. You'll know what Bloodline these are. And you'll be like, well, what the hell? Read about Elemental is, where they come from, and likewise for all of the Bloodlines. And we're actually kind of revamping our taxonomy. For the playtesters, you may remember it used to be called races, or I think 150 down. We called them bloodlines. And players without using that depth and breadth of lore that we've worked so hard on over the years. Works really both for the players and both for us, or me as the narrative guy, to be able to continue to world build and create stories that players will hopefully enjoy for many years to come. And of course, we're going to have conflicts. All this will be involved in conflicts. For those of you familiar with conflicts, if I have a chance, I do have some images I can show, maybe some draft stuff, to talk about those and how this story continues from the rebellion into Conclave Arcana.
Go for it.
I'm going to flip to the next card. I've got 6 to show. I don't want to hog up all the time here. I'm clicking on the wrong screen. So this is the Blazebeard Merc, and I think he's a favorite. I know he's a favorite of the before I go off on this guy. So unlike the other dwarves who are from Grimbardoon and they follow Fife Bladestone, I'll talk about him later. He's the I guess I should be saying Archon because we're changing to Archon now. But here's Blazebeard Merc's stats. Pretty freaking awesome. 3 mana. Yeah, he's got Incendiary, so he's going to spread some burning. Oh, that's not max level. Let me screw that. Let me fix that.
I think his name's Blazebeard. Blaze is probably going to want that card. That would be my guess.
There'll be a bounty for $2,000 on this card.
Nice.
Black foil, 1 of 5.
There's the at 5. Image. He's 3 mana. He's got burning, but he's got charge. He's got piercing, and holy cow, he also has bloodlust. So this dude's a beast. And he actually, even though he's a dwarf, he's actually on the Conclave Arcana side. He's a mercenary. Thus his name, Blazebeard Merc. He's what we call a cinder dwarf. And he was basically born in a prison in the Phyrexian Empire. And they were like, "Oh, sorry, you were born there. You're just gonna stay there, deal with it." And he kind of grew up in this prison until there was a riot, and he broke out. And he basically killed other prisoners. He killed the guards to escape. And he's really all about the battle and the fight. The Conclave Arcana, they pay him to join on with them. But he really doesn't care. As long as they pay him, he's happy with it. They stop paying him, he's probably going to turn on them and go bloodlusty on them as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at with this card. But he's a super powerful card. 3 mana. He's in Little League. This dude's just insane and awesome, and everybody's going to want him.
Yeah, I just want to
What do you
quickly
guys
say,
think?
Joey, this is like I love the synergy on these like abilities, even like the charge allowing attack from rear. He's got a good amount of hit points, so even though he's got incendiary, he's not going to kill himself on turn 1. 5 damage with the pierce is going to draw some kills, and that all goes with bloodlust. This is crazy.
Also, I forgot I was still in the chat with Rondon. Is he posting that stuff in Town Hall for y'all, or am I just talking in the wind here?
Yeah, Town Hall's seeing it.
Sorry, you guys. Let me jump back over to Town Hall.
I think Blaze's
All right, I appreciate it.
Blaze, I think you're gonna have to up the bid.
All right.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
looking
no,
at this guy.
And also remember this card, like the bloodlust is at the last level, right? So that's what makes this card super powerful. So that's going to be a card to chase for sure.
It
I'm just
strikes
looking
me
at this
that the
card
card,
and pair it with Kazi Conjurer. That's got the insane damage with the burning as well, and very low
the
mana, but you
piercing.
can put out some insane damage with piercing. And your
Yeah.
strategy is just okay. We're gonna end the battle in round 1 or 2 before that burning even kicks in, and just do a ton of damage.
for 5 mana too, Bulldog. That was a 3 and a 2 mana card you decided.
11
Yeah, you're
11
tossing some
attack with
trucks out
piercing
there.
between the two.
You'll be playing this one in a 99 mana match at times.
Blaze, do you want to talk about the? I feel like this is a card that really lends itself really well to the new pace of gameplay. Do you want to dive into that at all, or do we want to keep that?
Yeah, no, I mean you're free to share, man. But like it's that synergy of you normally, like right now you can kind of see who is going to win the battle, right? Or it's going to be a long battle and it's RNG's kicking in. With the synergies with this card, for example, things can escalate really quickly. So battles can last 2 or 3 rounds and they're done because they just gain momentum and there's executing going on with the synergies with the new archons. But also on the flip side, the way he's designed, you think you're going to win, but if he doesn't get that bloodlust, he can burn himself to death, right? So at the end of the match, you think you're going to win, but then all of a sudden he just burns your team and you just you end up losing. So again, it's that synergy that just makes it so interesting and addictive. I mean, addictive is the word, right? Bojangles.
100%, man. There's a lot of cards like this where it sets you up for the potential of a high risk, high reward. The level at which the debilitations offer that very fun trade-off and put it on the table. And Blaze, you and I have played a ton of battles on the test server, and I would say a decent chunk of them have come down to the final couple of monsters on either side of our tables, and you until the very last moment you don't know which way this battle is going to go. But you get Joey just talked through the stats here, and it's this guy hits like a truck. He's piercing, charge, decent speed, bloodlust. So the pace of the game, I think, has, at least from my experience thus far, has picked up in a significant way, which of course lends itself really well to rapid strategy game. I would love to see the data in terms of how, on average, what does the new modern versus the old modern look like in terms of total round duration. Conclave Arcana, it ramps it up to 11, man. It is, shout out to my buddy Jimmy for explosions. Conclave Arcana is filled with explosions. It's absolutely a blast to play, and there's I mean we keep going back to the synergies available. So
the player history, before you get into the battle, is very important. You can see what the last players played. You really need it now with Conclave Arcana. If somebody's spamming Banka, for example, right, Bojangles, isn't that you? So I had to shut it down. I was like, all right, he's going with Banka. I'm going to counter him. So really interesting combos. And then, Fizbo with his magical ability. I think there's another card or two that's going to have that. So you'll be protected against thorns. And Yeah, I know the dynamic is just insane.
We didn't even mention about the new summoner, the dwarf summoner, right? Fythe will give that card, which was crazy, void armor, which is next level.
Real quick, that card's been changed. It has void now instead of void armor. We took the void from water and moved it to fire, and then we had to tone down water. Water was a little OP, so that was the substitution we did to kind of balance it out. And then it still has +2 shield.
What else you got, Joey?
All right, let's go to the next card. We have not uploaded this card to the test server, so I'm just showing him kind of like this. So this is going to be Bren Palesworn, and I can just drop the stick figure art that we use. So this guy's kind of like a follow-up to Kellen Gaines. If you remember, he was our last voucher card, right? The death card. So his Kellen Gaines lore is basically he was sitting in on the Conclave Arcana when they're coming up with their schemes, and it turns out he was a Rift Watcher spy. And so he went back to Grandmaster Wraith, bringing this dude back in days of Conclave Arcana. And he's like, "Hey, Grandmaster Wraith, these dudes are going around secret to get the secret."
Joey's going to turn off his torrent streaming. that guy with the knife throwing reminds me of Judo from Berserk. If you guys know Berserk, you throw this amazing dude throwing daggers, taking enemies out. Bad. Like,
Okay,
seriously.
I'm looking at the stats in Discord. So is this our first card that has weapons training with 2 types of attack?
Oh, that's a good call.
That
certainly
I
is.
noticed that.
that is insane.
Very.
Not to mention it's shapeshift, so it gets all the benefits.
And
Well,
you know what this
Jonesy,
this
can you hear me?
immediately makes me think about? Bulldog, you could what's that pain force or whatever, in conjunction with, like, you could teach a weapon who probably had pain force, and then you could like double increase those like outgoing attacks.
Well, that's
Synergies
I was
on
already
synergies.
excited about the this is a neutral card too. So I was already excited about I think it's the gnomes that get that pain forge that have a lot of them don't have any attack. So you can
think
weapon
so.
train them. And I was thinking, okay, I could double weapon train them. And
Yeah.
then get that pain forge. Well, now you can triple weapon. Whoa, weapon train them.
Yeah, Jeff opens cards. He's not a huge fan of gnomes, and he's gonna have his hands full with gnomes attacking him. Also, keep in mind, you can have another weapons trainer with magic and create a lot of the 3 attack cards.
And yeah, it's a neutral card. You've got a magic weapon train. That's a neutral card. So as long as they're not banned otherwise, you can get any weapons training you want in there now.
So this is the double weapon trainer that we were just looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna call him Judo from Berserk. You guys got to watch that.
Great.
All
You
right,
guys
we're
hear me
waiting
now?
for
I'm
Joey.
coming
Why
out.
don't
Hey,
we-
Joey. Good.
Yeah, there he is. All right, you're back, Joey.
All right.
We got you.
All right. So this guy is Bren Palesworn. When the Splinters were unable to rally support to defeat the Conclave Arcana, he went around to the Splinters. You can see on his artwork, on his stats there, he has shapeshift, so he can appear as any race. So he would appear to the orcs as an orc. He would appear to the dwarves as a dwarf, and he would train them, weapons training, train them on how to fight against the Conclave Arcana. And that's kind of his role. He kind of kicks things off before the actual story gets started. I'll move on to the next card here. Fight Bladestone that we just talked about. I won't share his stats because, as we already have said, we've adjusted them slightly. He has 1 armor and void armor now. I'm sorry, 1 armor and void. Void will be his bloodline dominion, so all dwarves on his team get bloodline dominion. What I think about this guy, that's cool, is he's basically a character from Rebellion. If you remember the Rebellion card, Grim Bardoon Fighter, he was a Grim Bardoon fighter who made a name for himself in the conflicts. He was one of the dwarfs that fought against Queen Mycelia. You, the player, went to Grim Bardoon to convince the dwarves to help the besieged city of Solus, which is from the Glordax Empire. That's where Kai came from, one of the airdrop cards. But anyway, this guy went to Solus. He helped liberate it. He helped you, the battle mage, and your mage wagons liberate the city of Solus. He killed a couple of chaos golems, which, if you're familiar with the lore, those were created by the chaos animator. And so I tried to tie his lore into the past to create this kind of continuity. So he's near and dear to my heart, and he's going to be the one that leads the dwarves in one of the conflicts against Iridium Greybrow, who is one of the Conclave Arcana mages, and it'll be in the Great Lowlands. And in all of these, they're the dwarves, the orcs, the gnomes, they're all just vastly outnumbered, which is where the conflicts come in. And they need your wagons to help them win the fight, so they can't do it alone.
Man, flipping through these black foils, the black. I'm guessing this is the black foil we're seeing here. Is that right? Man,
Yeah, this is a
creative
black foil version.
Creative knocked it out of the park, man. These cards are so sexy.
Did we lose Django, by the way?
Say what now?
Is he showing? Is his pretty face on the screen or not?
I can't see him, so I think we did lose Jangle.
The card. What are you asking, Dave?
No,
you cut out.
Nope.
I think those cards are making it through to.
What about Gathering? Do we still have Gathering?
Yeah. Yep. I'm here.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, Jangles is. By the way, for everybody listening to this stream, this is the first time we've ever done this, and this is a world record for the number of people on one stream on the town hall. So you're witnessing history. So
we couldn't even fit everybody on.
For anybody who can remember, Dave goes, "I want it like Hollywood Squares," and here we are. Hey, just while we're on the summoner, real quick. Baradalin is a dwarf, and they synergize very well. It's a strong cookie. If you guys don't have that Rebellion card,
that is a
You're gonna
fantastic synergy.
You're gonna have to go buy the book on Baradalin right now.
So the marketplace is already thin. You just made it a lot thinner.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, not on purpose, kind of though.
Gathering the Magic, you're gonna have to make a market watch like every day for us.
Oh God.
Once CA comes out.
Is it worth suggesting I don't know how people would feel about this, but a rule set that would allow you to pull Bloodline Dominion from wild cards, for example, even if you're playing in Modern? Or was that too much of a no-no?
It came up, but it would be a no-no. But it makes wild. Wild is just. B. Jingles mentioned it. We accidentally, because we test Modern, and wild's supposed to be wild. We don't design anything around wild. Wild is whatever happens, and there's gonna be a lot of fun.
You bring too much craziness in, huh?
You know what I was thinking though? Like maybe like a rule set for like champion players, or that can happen in Modern. We can do something along those lines.
Well, just remember that we have a mantra there that like anything's subject to change. So a lot of times we work on it like, oh God, that's horrible if this changes. So it's possible that we could actually have a change that would make you happy thereafter, Sound. So you never know.
I don't even own wild cards, but I'm just thinking. I think I'm wanting to get all the craziness of wild into the Bloodline Dominion.
Oh, you own them. You're gonna have wild here soon, right? Chaos Legion. I think you have a.
Oh my gosh, you just reminded me. Yes, absolutely. Okay, all my cards are wild now, or they will be May 13th.
And we got Jangles back, so
Yeah, I think I've done everything correctly. I hope.
Yes, I hope you actually the XXX. Did you do the XXX at the end?
That's my private link, dude. You know it.
That's his.
Dave, I thought this was a family show.
Yeah.
That's his OnlyFans. Jangle's OnlyFans.
All right, Joey, what do we got next? We still don't have Joey back.
I want to say quickly, this is since Joey's stalling here. I really, really think it'd be crazy if we could find a way, maybe it's through land and functionality and potion creation, where people who have deep pockets could make black foils. Look how crazy these cards look. Black foils for cards that aren't black foiled. Like, I mean, alphas. Like one though, like maybe like one of them could be created. And like think of the race to make research, to spend research to make something like that possible. Like, I just think that'd be cool.
Well,
So,
mind
like,
you, now that Harry's integrated that ability to add foils easily, that can be very well something that happens sooner than later.
player-made glamour, that could be a thing.
Yep.
Use
I mean,
some
what-
land resources to
looking
make
forward to
glamour
that.
for your cards.
What is an acceptable DEC sacrifice to the Splinterlands community?
All of it.
That everybody would agree, like if somebody wanted to convert one of their alphas into a black foil, I mean that number would be very high, but if we all determined a number and voted on it, it'd be interesting to see how much DEC we could burn.
Well, and that maybe it just goes to the DAO. Maybe it gets burned, or maybe it goes to the DAO or something, and it's like $100,000 or something stupid. I don't know, but it's just something that could be cool.
Well, it's our
And
game.
yeah.
We can do whatever we want. So if we can come up with a scope and, if it makes sense, let's do it.
If we're still waiting on Joey, I do want to say, just to revisit the price on those black foils, or the market, I should say, is I think we might actually see OTC deals or OTC trading rather than anything even listed, because somebody's going to pull a black foil arcane 1 of 1. They're not going to list it on the market, but Matt or Azarcon or somebody out there is going to be in their DM saying, "What's your price? What's your number?"
On that note, like that's why I really want to, when we get to our next priority list, as soon as April or May 13th is out of the way, and we start working on our next priority list, the in-game trading is crucial. Like the buy offers that you can submit to people, and removing the trust, right? Where it's trustless, it's on the blockchain. Boom, you get a pop-up in your inbox saying you have an offer for $5,000 for your 1 of 1. Accept or decline or send a counter offer. That's something that we really, really need.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I would definitely love that. I see cards on the market that have low liquidity or whatever, and the price isn't really realistic. Or we saw what Heloise was listed
Dude,
for
my Heloise is
$100,000 or
definitely
something.
worth $100,000.
Yeah.
Bulldog. I don't know what you're talking about.
I see some of those, and I want to make offers or whatever, but sometimes, other than searching their name in Discord, like there's not a way to really message people. And I find a lot of people, it's like, okay, I don't even know where to send an offer to.
Not yet.
So yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I need a place to post my eBay link when I get my black foil. I'll be using eBay auctions.
Honestly,
Joey, give it a go.
Okay. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so I changed it to for some reason my webcam mic seems to be working. So let's do this. So I dropped this dude's stats in chat. So this is called the Forked Tongue Sage. This is another fire card, and this is part of the Conclave Arcana. These guys are from the Skaden Splinter, and as you might have guessed, being Forked Tongue Sages, they're not exactly the loyalist troop. They use their magic to help Ordum try to uncover the secret Praetoria, But in the end, ultimately, they're hoping that the Conclave Arcana fails. They're hoping the dwarves also fail, and they can kind of take the secret Praetoria for themselves. A cool card here, Snipe. It's got reflection shield, or it's got a magic reflect, and for 2 mana, it's quite a deal. I think it's going to be a staple in Little League. It's got plenty of health. It's got a little bit of armor, and I think as people start cracking open packs and seeing what these Conclave Arcana cards are, it's going to synergize really nicely with the cards in the set. What do you guys think?
Definitely
Something that I've noticed as I've had a little bit of an advanced view on this stuff, but it feels like more so than in sets past, every card matters. We've always heard that there's kind of been a whether it's the hardy stonefish or the crypt beetle or whatever those kind of quote unquote throwaway cards were. I really get the feeling that those largely do not exist with Conclave Arcana. There's very key strategies that you can lean into and are made available across Splinters because of the new summoners and the racial bloodlines. As I'm saying this, I realize I'm saying all the old school words. So archons and bloodlines and elements, I guess, are the words I should be saying. But yeah, man, I'm stoked that you guys have been able to really nail down every card having its place. It feels like it's a whole new era that we're entering into with Conclave. It's fun.
I just like seeing all
Yeah,
these.
it was. I'll just say real quick, it was really cool to see the playtesters on the team come together. We put a lot of thought and effort into it. So my hat's off to the team and everybody that put in the work in to do that. And then when it went to you guys, the player playtesters, you saw some things that we didn't see, and you made it even better. So I think the combined effort, we've created a really incredible card set here that everybody's going to need to play in Modern. And it synergizes well with itself, and it synergizes really well with the Rebellion set.
Yes. And fire, sniper, magic, that screams Keelan Gaines buddy to me. I don't know about you guys.
I was just gonna say that I like seeing all these low mana beefcakes. I mean, this is gonna make Little League really fun. This guy's got a lot of health on him.
No joke. 2 mana.
Bulldog, you were gonna say something.
I was just saying it's kind of one of those odd cards that looks like it's almost a counter to itself. Like it's got the snipe magic, but it has magic reflect. So it's a card you would not only use as snipe, but put in the snipe position on your own side.
Interesting to bring that together with what I think Blaze corrected us on with Faith. Faith is giving Void now. I think you said that, Blaze. And if so, then if you have Faith and I don't, Bulldog, and we try that, this card versus this card in the same position, you're going to get the one up over me, hey?
Well, they need to be dwarfs, right? To get that.
My bad. Yeah.
This correct me if I'm wrong, and this might not be that big of a deal, but I don't know, at least within Chaos Legion and Rebellion, if there's a card that doesn't start with any armor but gains some as it levels up. It kind of reminds me of like the Alpha Beta, which like gained an attack as they leveled up. So I don't know. I just find that interesting.
Yeah, we bended the rules a little bit on some of those things. We worked with Bob and met in the middle on some, to make someone want to go from level 1 to level 2, right?
Fair enough.
Give it a reason.
Would we ever see?
Oh, go ahead, Aftersound. Sorry, man.
I was just curious if we would ever see something like the no attack at level 1, but picking up an attack in silver or intermediate or max level. Is that something that we would revisit at some point with the whole weapons training? I just find that meta very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess Bob's not here, so but
yeah,
just put it out there.
Bob,
sorry, go ahead.
Honestly, I was kind of glad that we stopped doing that. Like I don't like when there's negatives for leveling cards up. And I think we see that less than we used to. But
You're
like
saying
even
with weapons training, got it.
yeah, like because weapons training can make some of those cards.
So there were times.
That's interesting.
There were times in the past. I think what you mean is like you get an attack, but their speed would go down or their health would go down. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, even just gaining an attack is a lot of times a negative now that you have weapons training because you could get more attack with it.
Yeah, there were a couple cards that didn't have an attack to start with, but then gained one as they leveled up. That's what I was referring to.
Well, I think there's
Gotcha.
interesting
So,
ways
like,
to achieve both, right? Like if you look at Olfka, for example, if she lost self-resurrect or something like that in favor, you know, if she started with a melee attack and then as she levels up and loses the melee attack but gains rebirth or something like that, I feel like there could be ways to satisfy both, where she's very valuable in the lower leagues where, you know, maybe she's one of the only cards that has poison burst or something like that. But
you just want to own a card at every level, huh, B Jangles?
I feel like you have to now, man. Survival mode changes everything.
There you go.
Well, even like the martyr cards, I've always felt that martyr cards should have their highest level of health at the point where they get martyr, so that some of those are more valuable when they have less health because you want them to die faster. And it's always frustrating when you lose a match because your card was leveled and theirs wasn't, and that actually hurts you. And I think that's something we typically want to avoid.
Separate but related to all of this card stuff and very related to Conclave Arcana, as we're flipping through these black foils, you know, we talked about kind of the social element that you guys are looking to introduce through, you know, like site-wide announcements. Yo, Dave McCoy just opened black foil, take a look at his pack, or, you know, whatever that looks like. What about the what are you guys cooking up in terms of the individual experience? So when I flip over a black foil, is my screen flooded with emojis and gang signs? What does that look like?
Yeah, you nailed it, man. No, Nate has definitely had a lot of input from all angles, so I'm excited to see what he cooks up. But he's in full control of that with the creative team, and they're going to do something special, just like they did with the Arcane. So really looking forward to see what path they take based off of all the input we gave them.
I know one of my suggestions.
It's going to be the Auroral Elemental.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of my suggestions was, like, if you do like a mass pack opening, like if you're opening 100 packs, they scroll by so quickly. A lot of times, like if you flip a legendary, you don't see, oh, was that gold? Did I get multiple copies? My idea was, if you get one of these special cards, the black foils or the arcanes, it will not flip over. You have to physically click on the card, and then you will see what it is.
There was two things. One, make it a double click, right? So you click it and it does an effect, and then it flips. And then the other suggestion was a different back. So
okay. Yep.
We'll see what path he takes, but no, that's exciting. I'll tease it as soon as I get something.
A different back is and that breaks hashtag no spoilies in a big way, dude. Like, you know right away what's hiding under that back.
Or just have like a different aura around it. So like if you hover over it, all of a sudden you see this weird glow and you're like, wait a minute, that's not rare. That's not epic legendary. What is that? And then it sinks in. Oh my God, I know what I just got. Holy crap. Let me start streaming so everyone can see this.
Well, Dave hit him pretty hard, so I'm sure he's going to get something really, really cool put together for us.
And the shake, I think the showing the black on the backside would just be, but like the shake is awesome. We all love that legendary. You're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, I think I still see that where, you know, people hover and then they leave the legendaries for last.
Yeah.
So, Joey, do you have any more cards to share?
I have one more if you want to see it.
Hit
No,
us.
we've been running along.
If we want to see it, Joey, come on.
I think there's about 80 more they want to
So
see.
here's the full artwork.
Let's be honest.
This
There's a
will be the
good chunk
last
of people. That's the only reason they're
one
here. They want to see
that
these
I'm going to
cards.
show. I do have some. Let's see. So I'm gonna drop this in chat so everybody who's not looking at YouTube can see it. And then on the server, we still have sketch art uploaded. So I won't show the art. I'll just put the stats. That way you don't see Brent Palesworn as a stick figure. But this is this guy's stats. So he's got electrified. It's kind of a giveaway from the artwork there. One of the cool things, I think it's cool that he has taunt. So his electrified is going to just keep hitting you the whole battle. He's got 7 health. So maybe he'll do it once or twice, or you could stick him behind another tank so he keeps doing it. Because if you remember, the Gnome Archon, their Bloodline Dominion ability is Pain Forged. So every time this dude hits your gnomes with electrified, boom, all your gnomes are basically like bloodlusting, right? They all get +1 health, speed, and attack. It's like crazy. So pretty cool card. And then, of course, not only that, you can see at max level, he's also bust. Oh, this is 2 mana.
Yeah, that was excluded, huh?
You say
yeah,
2
mana?
mana?
On there.
Yeah, it's a 2 mana taunt.
2 mana.
Yeah.
2 mana taunt card. Woo!
All right, I was initially
he's
thinking
taunting.
taunt on a 7 health card isn't that good, but then you say 2 mana, and that changes everything.
Yeah. Yep. And 4.
Yeah, I'm
4
curious.
mana
You know,
power.
I've got some
He's got
biases when
stun.
I'm looking at these cards, so I'm curious. You know, After Sound and Dwayne and Bulldog. What's the initial reaction as, you know, kind of a cohesive? Obviously, you guys are seeing 4 or 5 cards here, but I'm keen to hear initial reaction, just cohesiveness with what we know about the summoners thus far, the archons thus far.
I just really like
that?
seeing a lot of low mana. I don't know. For me, I know many people are not fans of low mana battles, but I find them to be interesting, and seeing a ton of really fascinating and powerful low mana cards is exciting.
The one quick thing I would like to share is that I am constantly thinking about what Blaze says about this new set. He said more than once in more than one setting, he said it's going to take a while for us to understand what the meta is, because there's this complex layers on layers, because it's not just, you know, how does blue Splinter work together within itself. It's, you know, it's also like, how does that new Bloodline Dominion thing work, and what does that bring in, and how does that open new opportunities? Like, I can't get my mind necessarily around some of this stuff yet, and it's going to take time. But so far that dwarf with the 5 and the impact, or the piercing and the bloodlust, that was the one that really grabbed me, as well as the one before it, which we didn't really talk too much about, with the reach, and it had protect, and it also had one other defeat, enfeeble. I think that looked like a strong card for a lot of reasons.
Another initial reaction is this card is just absolutely broken in Silent Summoners, or not Silent Summoners, the Back to Basics, which you've already got a water card there that is that's that way.
Yeah, so for 6 mana, you can wheel out 8 magic damage.
With decent health too.
Ron, I sent you a picture with the actual art for the card and the stats.
But I guess we do that already, kind of. Oh, sorry.
While we're all on here, let's run a quick survey. Anybody who loves Back to the Basics, raise their hand.
Like,
everybody put your hands down, please, for me.
See, I think it should exist as a rule set. I just wish they would turn it down. Like, it doesn't need to appear as often as it does. Like, can we scale it back to like a fourth,
right,
of what it is?
The only thing I don't like with Back to Basics is when you get Back to Basics and melee only. I'm like, really? Come on.
Actually, my least favorite is Back to Basics and Silent Summoners, because I feel like I'm just playing with the backs of cards at that point.
It's worse in survival, where like you just got to throw those ones.
It's the smart strategic surrender there, right? Because
Yeah, it's just a slugfest.
brutal.
It's a slugfest. You're going to lose everything, and you're going to win with one card. And yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, if I can spill some beans here, just in regards to strategic, and no pressure, but this pre-sale is like super special. These shapeshift is an ability that I would say that you don't see cards spammed often, but when they have shapeshift, they're very powerful. So Grommel and Arcane Skinwalker, they can go anywhere. And if the mana's right, they're the cards to play. They just synergize so well together that, again, I highly suggest getting as many packs as possible so you can get these cards maxed out if you can, because I'm having a hard time seeing them on the secondary market. So just a heads up.
So pre-sale sellout confirmed? I think so.
Let's see what happens.
Is much.
What's that?
500,000 packs is not very much. It will move, especially if SPS keeps going up into the right. Like the 500,000 packs is not very much.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends that got in at the bottom of SPS, and then they were going to get X amount of cards, right? But now that their value's gone up of SPS, they're going to burn, and they're going to get 3 times, or whatever SPS is at the time, that many more cards. They're not even worried about SPS too much or so much. They just want to get more packs. So that's good to see. They just really want to play the game and have a nice deck to play with. So that's the kind of people we want to see around.
We sold out, or we almost sold out the Rebellion pre-sale at like, the market sentiment was not the way that it is. Well, actually, the market sentiment for crypto kind of sucks overall, but Splinterlands sentiment at that time was pretty much the exact opposite of where it's at right now. And I would say that I keep harping on the fact that the game economy health is so much better as well. So even though it's double the amount, I think it was like 2 billion DEC for Rebellion versus 4.4 billion here. I just think the enthusiasm is there to actually do it again.
What do you think the order is going to be of the packs? Do you think everybody's going to go after the $4 packs and then work their way up, or they're going to go for the legendaries?
For me, I think if there's a risk of it not selling out, it would be the $4 packs. I think if whales are going to play whale games, they're going to go for the alchemy and the legendary packs, which means it's up to the small fish to eat up the 500,000 little packs.
Interesting.
I guess running the numbers, I haven't seen the value in the legendary, but it's also hard because I haven't seen the cards either to know that. I know some people said that legendary is more an indication of strength in this set than it is previously, and that's kind of hard to factor in. But
and mage wagons, those airdrop cards are freaking amazing. That's the whole dynamic that I love about this. The black foils, the mage wagons with airdrops, it's going to be huge. It's 4:30 a.m. here, and I am hyped. I just wish this set was coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
So I guess for those of you who have played, we've only seen a handful of cards. Like what is the level of power creep compared to Rebellion? Because the cards I've seen so far, it feels like I'm looking at them and I think they're definitely stronger than Rebellion. And typically that's intended. You usually want each new set, you want a little bit of power creep. But what are you guys seeing? How, when you're playing modern battles, how often are you using Rebellion?
In modern,
a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
A lot. But that said, in Wild, you're having cards. For example, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but the Rift Watcher card with 3 magic and 3 ranged. She's an elf, and she gets the boost from the Archon. Right.
Oh, Romancer Flora.
Yeah, Flora. She's just a powerhouse. So I think I whooped Bejangles a couple times with that scenario. I don't remember, but it was fun.
Yeah, you're misremembering, Blaze.
That's not hard to do.
Yeah, Dave hung one up on me too, man.
I retired after I beat Bejangles, and the only match I ever played against him, I was like, all right, I'm done here.
I want to know
who's better.
That link has been perpetually pinned in our DMs. Anytime I'm getting out of line, that's the first thing that gets called up. But yeah, Bulldog Rebellion definitely plays a big role here, and I feel like one of the things that I was alluding to earlier with Blaze and the tempo of matches is the really heavy sustain teams. That's for the most part exiting Modern. We see a lot of matches. You scroll through your top battles in Champ, and a lot of these matches are Tofu, Izzyar, Adelaide, Commander Goff, and they're built to last 20 plus rounds.
Got to get that mimic up there.
That has been flipped on its head. I would say average match is probably 7 or 8 rounds and under with the new Modern. So things are the set is definitely designed in a way that the tempo of matches is much quicker, which is fun. I don't know how much of that is, there's a lot more play with debilitations. Like I said, the risk reward is much higher, so you're able to put together a very aggressive hand, but you're definitely risking wiping your own squad out trying to field these high output teams. So I feel like, yes, power creep is there, but it's also at a cost, which I think is a fair trade-off.
I think Jangles just told us to sell our tofus before this thing happens.
Don't do that. Tofu is awesome. Well, sell them to me. I'll buy them. we can settle that score offline, Dwayne.
Yeah, I don't know what the secondary market is for those summoners with Lorcas and Tofu and EMP. But if there's some good deals on the market, I highly suggest checking out, see what's available, see what you don't have, because once we get this new wave of players and they start completing their Conclave Arcana decks, they're going to be looking back at Rebellion. So anybody who's here now has the opportunity to get those scarce Rebellion cards. But I understand people want to save their DEC to buy Conclave packs, so it's a catch game. So it's difficult to choose what we're gonna do. Again, let's not fade land too, right? Oh my gosh, there's so many things to do.
I've been looking at Lorcas and that Pain Forge ability and thinking how exciting that looks for him.
Yeah, honestly, man, I think maybe this is at risk of some breaching some NDA, so somebody have their finger on the mute button. But I feel like the every single legendary summoner from Rebellion gets a huge boost, and that includes I was a big proponent for the Nidhogger adjustments. The team has delivered some justice for Nidhogger. There's the hashtag we can start spreading around with Conclave Arcana and Bulldog. I think you're going to be very happy with your namesake, and obviously I think we've heard, it's pretty common knowledge what's been happening with Force Field. I think somebody has come out and said that Force Field is strictly a wild ability for now. Squirrel has every ability in the world to deliver a lot of pain in a hurry. Some of those ranged monsters, just unreal damage.
Yeah, when you need to take Venk out, that's a great choice.
Yeah, not to mention the True Strike.
Because I was looking at some of those other cards and thinking, well, Force Field, those are great until you hit Force Field, and then if there's no Force Field, that's a massive game changer.
Well, Unbridled Delia and what's the wolf on fire, the ambush ranged piercing Rush? Is it Rush?
Rush Townsend.
Yeah, all of a sudden in the first, between ambush and the first couple moves in round 1, all of a sudden you're putting up 20 damage. So with no force field. It's exciting, man. It's a lot of fun.
Months and months of entertainment. I mean, literally. And remember, when you look at a card and you say, oh, the stats on this card, it's horrible, I'm going to sell it. Don't do that. Wait, give it time, play the card, because again, the synergies with what's the new name now? Rally. Do you have that one, Bjangles? What's rally?
Tribute, racial tribute. Is
Yeah,
that it?
yeah. Those
Yeah.
cards can pick up some momentum, especially if they have shapeshift. Their stats go up after the incidents happen when they lose their fellow warriors on the battlefield. They get mad. So
One
So
thing-
I'm guessing we
I
see.
changed to bloodline tribute. We removed all the racial stuff. Just to
there we go.
So I take it we're seeing. So all the cards have a bloodline, right? And it's not just the synergies with the summoners that we've seen so far, but there can be human synergy or others as well.
Joey, you shared some awesome table in tavern maybe 2 weeks ago.
What I do?
That would be you shared a table, like the taxonomy breakdown of how all the monsters fit into the various bloodlines.
Yeah.
and the
we're go ahead.
oh, go ahead,
So I'm
man.
just saying we're reworking that. There were 150 races. The whole idea of bloodlines is that's a lot for people that are on mobile or trying to scroll through them. And holy moly! So we're trying to narrow it down to about 40. So it's either easy to scroll through, or if you have to type it in, it's a little more manageable. So we're kind of adjusting it so it'll be bloodlines, and then it'd be like kinds and bloodlines, and what do we call them? Variations, I think. But yeah, we're adjusting it. But the basis is still there, and anybody who jumps on Splinter lore, I put a lot of time into that. I think there's like 150 pages worth of descriptions of who all these races are and where they come from and what they're like, and just trying to create it as immersive as possible, so you don't feel like you're just clicking cards and doing battles, but you're actually part of a world. You get a little emotional investment in these characters, especially when the conflicts roll around and you see the stories. And then we start building campaign mode, and we have PvE battles where you're either you fight alongside them, fighting against boss monsters, and then even Battle Mage Academy, which we've been talking about it for a long time, but it's still on our radar. We still want to do it really bad. And that, of course, will come into it, and you can be able to be a gnome or a human or an orc or a goblin. There's quite a few bloodlines or races that you'll get a chance to be as a battle mage.
I guess to simplify my question though, on the Conclave announcement post and on the pre-sale page, we see only 5 of the bloodlines focused on. Are those the only 5 that are getting synergy, or like
So
direct
for now.
synergies for now?
Yes, sir.
It's a start,
now.
man.
Oh,
Okay,
I mean,
There's still
and that was
legendary
it's very
summoners, right?
deliberate because well, who knows what the legendary summoners won't tell. But we want to make sure we had enough cards to make these bloodline dominions meaningful. And when you're just looking at the modern cards, you might not have only but a couple of these bloodlines. So what we did is we looked at Rebellion. We said, okay, what are we going to be able to use to make the most use of Rebellion with these bloodlines? It had a lot of orcs, it had a lot of elves, dwarves, gnomes. Not so many Eluned in Rebellion, but we went with it, and you're going to see a heck of a lot of these hippo people in Conclave Arcana, which I'm a big fan of them. I think they're cool. We did a lot of fun things with them. So I really hope you guys like the cards that we came up with.
Yeah, they're my favorites, by the way. There's some really cool artwork on the hippos.
Yeah, the art team.
I
I think the art team really knocked this whole set out of the park. This is probably one of my favorite sets in terms of artwork.
Same.
I still think Jared Scar should count.
Yeah, I know.
He hasn't
Get that
been
file out. When I went to the
I'm not
lore and I
going
saw
to
his mom was a Newland, I'm like, come on, man.
I don't know if I'm willing to burn 100,000 DEC to get the DAO support on this, but he's half and half. Come on, we gotta count something.
Well, speaking of the Ulands, and we talked about glamour earlier, and I know it was kind kind of running meme last town hall, but I really want that your mom skin on the Ulan summoner, man.
That was hilarious.
That's some next level trolling, dude. I absolutely love.
Well, I can't wait till we fire up our merch store, and have that kind of fun stuff for us to strut around in. But one thing at a time.
Yeah, I would gathering the magic. You come at it from a collectible angle, and you talked about what it was like early and like Magic the Gathering and what you saw there. I think that a lot of what we're going through now is going to seem really new and really early as time goes on, right? Because think of we're adding new foils, we're adding new variations, we're adding new gameplay. There's a lot of things to build on, not just with this set. There's still some surprises to come. But having said that, going forward, I think you're going to see a lot more new stuff. And going back to the gatherings, the point, if you look at in time and you say like 7 years from now, like we've been around for 7 years, imagine being around 7 more years and having these things take hold and be built upon. And we gather more of an audience. I think we're going to look back at this particular moment in time and say, wow, we were still really early. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but at least that's the way I look at it. So what do you guys think?
This is definitely, I've called it many times in my videos, this is Magic the Gathering 2.0. This is the digital version of what Magic the Gathering is. And I believe we're going to get there. I think we're going to get to the point where we're known as well as Magic the Gathering at some point in the future. And, when that happens and you look back at cards and you look at, oh, Chaos Legion, there's way too much of that. You get 20, 30,000 people in here, that's gone. That's gone. And that's multiples of where it is now. People are like, oh, Chaos Legion packs are 50 cents. Imagine them at $10, $12, at some point in the future, because players that want the cards want the cheapest packs out there. And maybe $10 or $12 is the cheapest pack. I don't see Conclave Arcana packs. Once this sale is done, 300 days from now, you're not going to have $4 Conclave Arcana packs. You're not going to have $12 alchemy packs. They're going to be multiples of that. So, as the marketing, continues to evolve and grow, we get new players in, we're going to get 5, 10, 15 more Vugduses or Azrakans that come and join the game. You're going to get people that are going to want to get into land. 150,000 plots, that's in it. We've got 200,000 players. You can't even have, one person that has a plot. It's going to get to that point. So I think one of the challenges that Splinterlands is going to have in the future is going to be, laugh at me if you will, scarcity. Scarcity of cards on the market, scarcity of land plots that are available. And, as you've proved with this set, scarcity of serial numbered cards. So, we're just getting started. So I'm very excited. I'm very happy, to be a part of this. And, like I said, I'm just amazed at, I can see it. I mean, I can see where we're going. And that's what gets me really, really excited. I mean, we've got the bases that you need. You've got a fantastic community. This is the best community that I've ever seen in all the years that I've been online. You've got an amazing team that's committed, that's gone through the bear market, gone through downsizing, gone through a lot of challenges, and they're still here. They're still putting out great content. They're getting better, and the sky's the limit. I mean, I kind of knew that it would get to the point where you go through the ups and downs, you go through the challenges, you go through the good times, that's easy. But when you go through the challenges, that's where you really see your true character and who you are. We've gone there, we've gotten through that, and now we're on this, the upward slope, I guess, as you would say. So, yeah, like I say in my videos, stay the course, just keep on forging and have fun.
You're spot on, man.
Gathering.
I have that DM burned in my brain with Magic the Gathering 2.0, and it's spot on, man. Like, they don't have the tech that Harry and the crew have developed over the years. We have such a robust system, and now that it's coming to a point where it's starting to mesh, where land's tying into the card game and vice versa, it's just going to really, really escalate. And also gathering, I know that you talked about the burn, but I think that in regards to burning the packs and not burning them, I think we're still at a point where we want to do that because this set's going to be ultra special, just like Rebellion, and those who have it are going to, benefit in the long term. But eventually, what we want to do is just keep growing our. That's a good problem to have, if we sell out and there's not as many cards in circulation that there could. But as we grow, as we get more collectors and people who are, this is their happy place, the more and more we start acquiring those people that just come love to play the game like we do, then the next set will just keep growing, right? As our audience grows. So it's that organic creative growth that's going to allow us to win.
Okay, can we compromise on something? You guys can burn packs, but please, please, please take out the burn mechanic for arcane cards. These cards are too special. Anything that's minted that has a mint number on it
aren't being burned.
Yeah.
Arcane cards aren't being burned.
Okay,
so
good.
All the arcanes are pre-minted and they're in a pool. So that's what Aftersound was saying about holding the packs. Like if they're not getting pulled, and a little the ratio just keeps getting better and better as they're not pulled. So if you're holding 300 packs and people just start ripping, and the odds are greater and greater for the packs. I mean, that's just a good problem to have. So those are all going to be distributed.
But I mean, when you do get the card, that you remove the ability for them to be burnt.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I meant.
Well, I mean, that would be a grave mistake, but that would just make them more scarce, right?
I know. I know.
We'll have Harry put a warning on there. Are you sure you want to burn this card that somebody might pay you $5,000 for?
I think that's so cool because the arcanes make me Gathering was talking about we're like Magic the Gathering 2.0. I think Pokemon is another, like, seriously, man, we gotta put these big names on the table, because like even these arcanes are going to be like the heavy packs. You guys know Pokemon heavy packs, like the boosters that they would weigh them, and the pack has like slightly more grammage, and that tells me that there's probably a holographic in this pack. And that's what we're talking about with these arcanes, where we're like, no, there's actually still some arcanes left, and there's only, now we burnt most of them, or we opened most of them. There's only 300,000 of these packs available still in the like future of Splinterlands and Conclave. And like there's a pretty decent chance that if you rip 1,000 packs, you've got a decent, or like a strong chance of pulling some crazy card. And that's like the heavy pack of Splinterlands. That's crazy. In 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, that still persists, that still lingers, and it continues to grow even.
Well, Dave really pushed the team hard, and they knocked it out of the park. We got the main things we wanted implemented. There's even one more surprise that we can't tell you yet, but it's going to be massive. But another one that I wanted, but we didn't execute on, is I would love to have God packs at some point, right? Where you know what I'm talking about, like one in 10,000 packs as a God pack and has all legendary cards or something crazy like that. So maybe on the next round we can get that.
That'd be pretty cool.
How are you making me FOMO for the next set already, Blaze?
Great. Does anybody have anything else they want to share or comment
I was
on?
just gonna respond to Dave real quick. He's talking about, it's been a really fun 7 years. I've been here for about a little bit more than half of that, and where we'll be in the next 7 years. So here's my prediction. I'm gonna put it out on recording here. Dave, in 7 years, if Splinterlands continues to innovate and the community continues to be engaged and we're all having fun, my prediction is that a majority of Heloise the Hollows are going to be working on land.
Coming in swinging after sound.
I'm just trying, man. I don't know if everybody got it, but
I'm trying to understand the implications of that.
Oh, I'm just gonna say there's gonna be so many other cool cards and so many other cool features out there that pretty much your most expensive card right now is just gonna be working on land.
All right, now I understand. All right, cool.
It's late for all of us, I know.
Bulldog,
I saw somebody ask, is there going to be MAV testing for the set before we get to general release?
I don't think so. I think that the community testing, it was in place of the math testing because and in the past, the math testing was supposed to give the feedback, and then it turned out not to be the case. So that's why they think they did the NDA and the community testing to make sure that, we had a little tighter group that was, much more engaged. So I don't believe there's going to be a math test at all. So, but there will be a release. I know a lot of people have been asking, like, when are the cards going to be out? And Blaze has got, I think it's 30 influencers that he's going to have, that he's going to be giving at least one card to. That's coming up within days. And then at that point, we'll start getting a reveal of all the cards, all 80 of them, not just 6 or 8 or 10. There's some really cool artwork in there, and the pre-sale starts on the 22nd, ends on the 11th, and then we'll have a couple days before the actual launch on the 13th. And can't think of anything else.
Dave,
go ahead.
Quick question on that, Dave. We need those midnight potions. What about the Aura Labs, and when's that coming through? Because we need to get ready.
The plan will be about 10 days from now. So the Tuesday, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, assuming there's no problem. I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with the way that's going to work. I don't want to give any alpha here. Number one, it's late. It'll be long to explain it.
It's early.
But yeah, that's true for you, Blaze. What they will, there's going to be a cost in research to build the lab, and then there will be a cost to make the aura, which eventually turns into the black foil potions. I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with that price point. Like it's designed in such a way that it should provide incentive for the average person to want to craft their potions or buy them from somebody who is. So that should be a good experience from what I can tell. And any other questions you guys have? Because I want to say something when you're all done. Do you guys have any other questions or comments?
I just have a quick
Let's freaking
comment.
go. I'm so stoked, man. I think one thing, since I got here kind of on the heels of Aftersound, I just passed my 3 years and a couple of months, and this community never ceases to amaze me in terms of our ability to rally and come together when we need it, and it feels like, it feels like we're on the cusp of something really special here. That with everything that's come from land, and with all of the new mechanics that are being introduced with Conclave Arcana from a pack and economic perspective, plus all of the new in-game mechanics that are currently coming down the pipeline with Conclave. I just want to call that out and acknowledge how awesome this community is, and thank you to Dave and Blaze for putting this together, hanging out with the 7 of you guys, 8 of you guys. It's an honor that my name was included in this initial batch. Bulldog, Aftersound, 12, you guys are legends. And when I first came in and I'm Googling Splinterlands, it's the 3 of you guys that come up on my YouTube feed. So, the fact that I'm here with you guys is pretty dang cool. So thanks again to Blaze and Dave for putting this together. Hopefully it's the first of many, and that's my piece.
Cool. One thing I wanted to say is I really want, hopefully, people to like, one of the reasons why we made it so that if you buy on the first day of the pre-sale, the last day of the pre-sale, we made that intentionally that way. Obviously somebody can snipe at the end for the leaderboard, and we didn't even get into that. So we could probably go 2 more hours and still talk about a lot of pretty cool stuff. But the reason why we did that is because it's going to take a while for people to really have all this sink in, right? Like, I think you're going to see the first day of the pre-sale, there's going to be a certain amount of activity, probably be pretty exciting. And then a couple of days are going to go by, and everybody's wallets got drained, and then they start thinking about it, and hear something else and look at it a different way and probably going to want to rebuy. And we didn't want to disincentivize people from doing that, right? So you didn't want to say the buys on day one were 3 times more valuable than the buys at the end, right? So the buys on any day of the pre-sale are the same, right? So if you want to come, the only risk you have is the longer you wait, the more chance you maybe get locked out if it sells out, right? That's the only downside of waiting. The other part about the raffle is that's a money driven thing, meaning anybody's dollar is worth the same whether they put in $4 for a pack or 400,000, into it. Like each dollar gets the same weight when it comes to doing that. So I'm pretty excited because there's 71 prizes in there, most of which are going to be really, really cool cards. And, I'm pretty sure we're going to have somebody come in and spend, $4, $8, $10, $12, something like that, and pull something huge. And to me, that's something we haven't had in a while, and I'll let you guys put the dollar values on that, whether that's $1,000 or $10,000 or, 5 figures as you guys were talking about. But at the end of the day, being able to spend $4 and just participate and have a chance is incredible. And not only that, if you think about it, you can spend $4. You could literally win the 1-of-1 promo legend arcane, like 1-of-1 could be had to a guy who spent $4. And in addition to that, when he opens his pack, he could get a 1-of-1 arcane black foil legendary in the set too. So technically the pre-sale purchases are actually going to give everybody, 2 bites at the apple. So I want to make sure I make that point as well, because it's, you guys are out there, you're the top 5 guys out there, talking to people. And I just want to make sure, like, that's one of the points that I think, people should know. Like, it's not like, yeah, the Wells are going to have an advantage when it comes to possibly buying the legendary packs and maybe have a better chance of getting a black foil legend, right? Just because of the way, they buy the legendary pack, they're guaranteed at least a legend. But when it comes to the arcane stuff, I mean, it's complete democracy of money, right? Like $4 is the same as $400,000 in terms of the odds. So I just think that's an important message. And the other thing I wanted to say, kind of going on Jangle's point, I'm thrilled that you guys are here. I'm honored that you all wanted to be here, that you were all happy to be here. What you guys do for the community, what you have done in the past, what I think you'll do in the future, the way your excitement for the set is amazing. Everything from Bulldog's guarantee that it's going to be 40 cents to after sound talking about how, like, we're not going to stop at $1 on SPS. We're going to be like $100. So, I appreciate the, the fact that you guys are involved in Infidel. I don't even know which name to call you. I think we're just going to have to call you the legend. That should be the right name. And Jangles, I don't know. I can't, I don't even know what to say about you. You're amazing. So.
Thanks, Dave.
So I wanted to say thank you guys for being here, because you're also paving the way for the other 30 influencers that we have. Like you guys did the first one. You'll always be the guys that did the first one. I'm sure we did some things well. I'm sure we did some things we could do better. But having said that, this is something that I want to do on a regular basis. So I think Blaze and I and you guys are going to be on many, many more of these down the road. And I think it's extremely good for the community to have, your voices, your, bringing together in this platform. And I also want to encourage everybody on the outside that maybe have not heard you, which I'm not even sure is possible, but if you haven't heard these guys, you should make sure you follow them on, their channels, the ways of getting hold of them, because that's how we grow as a community. We share, we help each other, right? And you guys have been helping us. I think it's our duty as a community and as a company to do what we can to help not only the 5 of you, but also, the other 25 guys that are doing the same thing. You guys are, the A list, so to speak, but we still have some unbelievable influencers as well that aren't here tonight. So,
yeah, and I'd like to add, it's like the cool thing about all you guys here on the panel, you're all unique in your own way, right? You all have Aftersound's pumping out content daily. Bulldog's the professional streamer, right? I mean, the guy's got the esports vibe all written all over it with the AI music in the background, all that kind of fun stuff. It's just so cool. We have the Joe Rogan of Pretoria over here, B. Jangles. If you want to listen to a good long stream, then or podcast, then he's the guy. And then Dwayne is like, the truth, right? He spits the truth, man. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Joey, thanks for coming on and sharing all the cool art. We can't wait to dive into the lore, at least me, and I'm sure many others here, and see all that tie together and come to life. Gathering the magic, the depth that you have. I have it when I'm working in the background. I have you guys on, So I really appreciate just hearing your guys' point of view of things, and our team's taking note from. We're building this game, right? So we're taking note of everything you guys say, and we're trying to improve everywhere we can. So, and again, we can't keep up with everything. So you guys providing that content is just amazing. The depth that you go into on the cards and the market. I write notes. I trigger in my head. I was like, oh, I need to go look at that card. I want to go snipe it off the market. So everything you guys do is greatly appreciated. And I want to channel all that energy when new people come on board. They want to go watch a badass stream with cool music, I'm sending them the Bulldog. If they want daily content, they're going to Aftersound. And we have to just keep leveraging off each other. And as Nate says, Vanak.
Thank you for including us. Honor to be here.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Loved it.
Yeah, same here. Thank you guys, and thanks Harry and Joey too. For staying up this late, for showing off. And I will also say this about the lore. We're just getting started, man. We got a lot of ways to leverage all the rich history that we have. And it's been underappreciated in the past, and I think you're going to see that come back in spades here in the future. So thank you, Joey, for showing up and taking the time to show us the cards, talk about where they come from, and basically making a huge story for us that we're going to find out a lot more about. So
yeah, just a real quick point before we wrap up. A real quick point. The only two things I think that Splinterlands has ever been lacking was like the chase for cards, the serial numbered cards. And the other thing is PvE mode, and that's campaign mode. We've got the chase here now. I know campaign mode is right around the corner. Those to me are the only two things that have ever held this game back. And with them both here or soon to be here, sky's the limit. There is no stopping this game. So get ready, hang on, have fun. Here we go.
Awesome.
Now we just need those boss fights, right?
Go.
Yeah. That's a whole other stream, guys.
Did you just say the B word, dude? Did you say the B word on air?
We've got another hour. Let's go.
Gathering magic, wrap it up. What's your ending punchline? And we'll call it a night. Much appreciated.
What is it? We're done here. Is that Azarcon?
Oh, we're done here.
We're done here, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You guys made me so hyped on stream. I had to go buy another 200,000 SPS during the stream. So I'm hyped.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys. By the way, you guys pop me up. Just so you know, when I listen to you guys, I mean, it's motivating to me. I know it's motivating a lot of people on the team. I know. I mean, even Matt. You'd be surprised that how much you guys are infectious. So thank you. Seriously, thank you.
All right, stay the course.
Let's rock.
All right, we're done.
Amen. Good
We're
job,
done
guys.
here.
Cheers,
We're done
everybody.
here.
Cheers.
We're
See you
done
guys.
here.